Hey everyone, welcome back to 4J Music. Today we're talking about chair tests, and just I've got to say from the get-go, do not send all your kids to all region tryouts or all district auditions as your chair test. That's not going to work, and please screen your kids. We don't want any of this going on.
That'll do.
It's not my fault. It's the reed.
Oh, yes, of course. It's the reed.
Yeah, that's not going to do it. Okay, so please don't do that. We've all been there where we've had to listen to kids that are unprepared in the audition room, and you just kind of want to strangle a cat or something. So something I want to just throw out there, and something that's worked well for us where I teach, is having your kids judge their own chair tests. I know what you're thinking. How is that going to work? This is what's worked well for us. And let me just give you a few kind of boundaries here. Is normally I've seen this work well from 8th grade on up. You know your kids better than anybody else. You know what they're capable of, what their maturity level is, what they can handle. So you be the judge of that. But one of the things that I really think that is very handy to have and is whenever your administrators ask for lesson plans or they ask to see what you're doing in your classroom, and they will eat this stuff up. If you look at the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Level 1 Music, under the subheading of critical evaluation, the students listen to, responds to, and evaluates the music and musical performance in both formal and informal settings. If you look down, there's several bullet points. Design and apply the criteria for making informed judgments regarding the quality and effectiveness of musical performances. I mean, obviously they're going to need some guidance with that, but man, if you're using those TEKS, if you're in Texas and you're using that as some sort of framework for what to do in your classroom, man, that is like in line with having kids evaluate each other and do so in a way that, they can be able to grow from that experience. And certainly, being able to evaluate musical performances by comparing them to exemplary models, that's in there as well. And so you're going to have your top player, your stud trumpet player, or whatever, and that's going to be the kind of what everybody compares all the other trumpet players to, right? And so just being able to have that and be able to have students evaluate and see what is making that particular player sound better than, and more prepared and, tone quality, all the things than this other kid that maybe isn't quite as prepared, okay? Obviously, we have kids that then they use verbiage like, man, that sucks. Well, why does it suck? Obviously, we don't want to use that terminology as professionals, but if it's not good, why not? Okay, what's making this player stand out versus this player? Okay, and so as kids become more aware of that, they can apply that into their own playing. Okay, now let me give you something else. Again, just some boundaries for how we do that, because obviously you don't want kids giving grades for that. You, as the professional, you're the one that's going to be assigning grades to students. The kids can do the ranking, and it really works well where you set it up like all region auditions, where the kids that are performing or testing or auditioning or whatever are not visible to everybody else, okay? And so you may just have maybe the trombones judge the flutes or something like that, and they kind of swap later on. And so not every kid needs to be judging the testers. And so you want to set them up. Let's say the trombones are testing, you put them in a place where they're not visible to everybody else, whether you set up a screen or in our band hall, we actually have our uniform room with 2 doors, and we just cram them all in there, and the kids can't see them, and they kind of just take turns playing. We sign them a letter, a number, or whatever, and that's how we do that. Okay, we also take phones away, so they're not communicating. And also at the end of it, you check for outliers. Okay, and I always tell my kids, hey, just the way marching contests, when we go to state marching contests or areas, you see all the ordinals, you're going to have a little bit of discrepancies, okay? But check for outliers. If you have one kid that, was ranked second, first, second, third, seventh, obviously that's a little bit of a red flag, and you can kind of make an adjustment if you need to throw out that score. One time I had a kid that I think I had 7 trumpets testing, and one kid had 8 scores. Okay, so do you think he was paying attention? Probably not. So you get to be a little bit more, the guardian of things like that. Any foul play, anything where kids, maybe don't need to be a part of that. You can kind of see what's going on there. For students with performance anxiety, this actually takes a little bit of the edge away so that they're not having to play in front of the whole class with everybody looking at them. Okay, it at least gives them a little bit of a shield from that, and they can maybe have a better run or opportunity for a better run if they're a little bit more secluded and not everybody's watching them. So there's so many positives and so many pros to this that I hope that you would consider that. That's one thing that's worked really well for us, and it just helps to be able to get kids engaged, and it's something that it takes up a lot more time to do it this way, but it gets them evaluating musical performances, which is the goal. Getting them aware and listening to what's going on in the classroom and to specific players. We all have those stud players in every section, and we want them to be able to be aware of why those students stand out. So I hope that you would consider that. If not, whatever you're doing, hopefully it's working for you, but it's worked well for us here, and I hope that you would take the time to implement that, or at least try it out in your band program. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.